What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'll be predicting the next 3 show stops for Aviation Expo. We already know that Aviation Expo 2026 was in Seattle, and then next year, Aviation Expo 2027 will be in Dallas, Texas. But after that, there are only 3 more years until we get into the dawn of a new decade, 2030s. And I just want to, do a little bit predicting with this. Where Aviation Expo will be in the years leading up to the dawn of the new decade. And so we'll basically just start off with 2028, and then we'll work our way from there up until 2020-30. So let's start off again with 2028. So for 2028, I have chosen Washington, D.C. for our first, I guess you could say, tour stop after or show stop after 2027. So, so we're starting off with Washington, D.C., and I'll list 3 pro reasons for each of these. So we'll start off with first reason for why it should be held in D.C. in 2028. It is 2 aviation museums, the National Air and Space Museum and the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. Both of these museums have terrific aircraft on display, like a Northwest 747 Eastern DC-3 on the Smithsonian Museum, an Air France Concorde B-29 Superfortress, and the Boeing 720 House, I believe, at the National Air and Space Museum. That one also is right outside Dallas Airport, which I'll quickly mention here. This museum also has like an observation tower where you can go and like spot planes taking off or landing at Dallas. And then that'll jump into reason 2, which is plane spotting. DC is currently served by 2 airports, technically 3, but in the mainstream DC area, you have Washington Dulles and Washington Ronald Reagan National, or just Washington Reagan, I guess. Reagan has a great plane spotting location, which is Gravely Point Park. I remember going there when I was really little, but I haven't been there in I can't even remember. Planes fly right over you on their final approach to land. I don't actually know what runway it is. And then also planes taking off from, again, I don't know what runway that is. Off the top of my head, at least. I don't know. They take off right over you. And then Dulles also has a ton of international airlines like BA, Air France, and KLM in Europe, Egypt Air, Emirates, and Etihad in the Middle East, Air Premia, EVA Air, and Korean Air in Asia, Avianca, Copa, and Bolivia de Aviación in South America, sorry if I mispronounced that, and Air Canada, WestJet, and Porter in Canada. Now comes to the third reason. Other potential aviation experiences. First are IAD and DCA airport ops tours. Both of those airports are very unique in their own way. Of course, this is similar to what we did in Seattle, where you drove up to Everett for the Everett tour, which is an hour and a half, I think, out of Seattle. And then also you have the United Airlines hangar tour at Dulles, and then those 2 museums I said earlier, and also Manassas Regional Airport, which is a few minutes out of DC or something. Then comes where this is going to be held at. There's a good amount of hotels nearby, specifically from Dallas Airport, from Hyatt Regencies, Courtyards, and Marriotts. But I was thinking you go with the Hyatt Regency, which is 4.2 stars, has a 24-hour airport shuttle to Dallas, and other things. And there goes my first reason for, first place prediction for Aviation Expo 2028, Washington, D.C. Now let's move on to 2029. (2029) I predict will be in Chicago, Illinois, specifically close to Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Chicago was the home of Airlines International 2022, and basically where most of my AvGeek friends started like their journey with this show, and then eventually evolved into Aviation Expo. Um, Chicago, like DC, has two airports: Chicago O'Hare and then Chicago Midway. So we'll start off with reason number one, which is three massive airlines serving these two airports. You guys probably know what three airlines I'm talking about, which is sorry about that, guys. Southwest, American, and United Airlines. Um, sorry about that. They all have hangars. Well, American and United have hangars at ORD, and Southwest has hangars. Or a hangar at Midway. Then, second of all, we have the airport ops. Both airports are unique in their own reasons or ways. Midway is probably the most unique one because like it is literally like a giant square. When you look at it on like a map or like Google Earth or even FlightRadar, you can just see it's like a giant square. And then O'Hare is even more of a massive square, with 8 runways and then like 4 terminals and bunch of taxiways. That would be great for airport operations. These are just reasons for tours and stuff like that. Also, along with that, also Midway has 3 concourses, a few other things. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and also it's like the Atlantic aviation ramp, sort of thing. Now, what was I gonna say? Also O'Hare is like, they have a bunch of international airlines serving their airport, massive cargo ramps. What was I gonna say? I guess technically the last one we've already said is the airport operations, I guess specifically at O'Hare. But being one of the busiest airports in the U.S., it's usually bumper to bumper to bumper traffic, and you could really see that, and like a bunch of spotting videos is just like bumper to bumper, even with all those taxiways and runways. Somehow, when you land it, it'll be like at least a good little bit before you get to your gate. Thankfully, when I flew out of there with Air Canada, I didn't have to wait that long. Actually, the taxiways are pretty empty, but that was like morning, pretty early in the morning, so, yeah. Then, which is also great for us spotters, because, you know, we all love to plane spot, and O'Hare is just, like, a bunch of that. Again, like, international airlines, United, American, then, like, your domestic airlines, like JetBlue, Delta, Alaska, and then, you know, also, like, Air Canada and those airlines. Now it comes to the hotel. I think this one that I have is a good pick. It is the Sheraton Suites at Chicago O'Hare Airport. From the airport shuttle, views of the airport shuttle is also 24 hours, I believe, at a 4.3 stars, review. So I think honestly it might be a perfect fit. And then also, have seen some of the photos and they look nice. And now we're heading on to the final location, of this video, which is 2020-30. This last one was actually a pretty big like struggle to pick between. I had 2 destinations or stops, and they were both in California. It was between Los Angeles, California, and San Francisco, California. Both airports are equally, I would say, great airports. San Francisco just has tons of international airlines. It's right by the water. It's such a beautiful place. I've been there once and honestly would love to go back. Hell, I might go back soon. But I had this feeling, so I decided to go with Los Angeles. And I chose this just for a few reasons. It has like a little more going for it, and then so we'll start off with reason one: plane spotting. Not just for all of the international, but there's also like a lot of domestic airlines. LAX also has like a lot of cargo airlines and also private jets serving the, well, I shouldn't say serving the airport. You know, they fly anytime they want. But anyway, it also has a bunch of like epic spotting locations that if you've been to LA, you've been to at least one of these 2 or maybe even 3 of these. I know one of my friends has been to all 3 of these. These are the 3 I basically hear a lot about. So we have The In-N-Out spawning location, you have Imperial Hill and the H Hotel. We'll get back to that in a sec also. You can see many of the cool aircraft there, specifically like parked at T-BIT, which is Tom Bradley International Terminal, from 747s, A380s, A350s, A330s, 777s, 787s, and way, way more. Then we're going to get on to the other one, which is LAX Airport Ops. This airport is, again, one of the busiest airports in the United States and has tons of terminals and hangars. 3 airline hangars, and not to mention, again, like T-BIT, in its own, like, realm. So 3 hangars, which are basically, for, the big, like, 3 airlines that you have there, which are Delta, American, United. Alaska, I believe, also has, like, a base zone they share with American. And then Southwest, I don't know if they actually, like, share a hangar with anyone because they have, like, an operating base out of there, like, a focus city. It's weird. But yeah, Delta has their own hangar. American, again, who I'm pretty sure they share with Alaska, being One World Airlines. And then United, all have hangars out of Los Angeles. So with those in mind, plus, like, a general LAX airport ops and spawning locations, and maybe other aviation things, can make LAX a airport worthy of being a host for Expo. And now we're going to come up with the hotel. I think there's only one option, in my opinion, the H Hotel. From great views up top the hotel with, like, its viewing, balcony sort of thing. I don't know. And from rooms, too. And then also along with a airport shuttle, and then, sorry guys, which I believe is also 24 hours, and a nice relaxing, California vibe, I guess. Make this a great host city for Aviation Expo 2030. And pretty much that has everything I want to say. I'm sorry, like, if I was kind of like, I don't know how should I say, it's like, I don't know, like saying, that word, a lot. Just because, oh, I did it again. Alright, anyway. Oh my gosh. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Thank you very much all for, like, staying, or watching to the end of this video, and, I will catch you in the, next one, and, I just haven't done one of these videos in a while, that's kind of why. I need to find my footing again with most of this stuff, as I will be doing more, videos like this, hopefully, in the future, and then a bunch of more NG stuff, and then, like, Expo content with, like, this sort of format. But, yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.